exciting cities in the tri-state area, it's Late Night with David Letterman. Tonight's guests are screenwriter Stephen Tessich, comedian Pat Paulsen, dentist Norman Hoffman with a review of Warren Beatty's Reds, also a tour of NBC and a report on people you won't be seeing on the show, and Uncle Sam. And now, a man who stopped and smelled the roses for a year and a half, David Letterman.
Thank you. I distinctly heard a human making dog noises. Good morning. Welcome to Late Night. My name is David Letterman. And in all honesty, do you know anybody who dresses like this? See, just moments ago, I was fumpering around my dressing room looking for pants to wear, and I came up with these. And they look like balloons or something, don't they? Nonetheless, good morning, and it's cold outside in New York City, and I guess cold in most other parts of the United States, but boy, we got some fun for you here tonight. Before we get to it, I had something I wanted to tell you, I think. Have I covered everything? I just got here, didn't I? Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. I watched the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago, and saw John Madden, and then I saw him again over the weekend on Saturday Night Live. You see him on these beer commercials. And the thought keeps running through my mind, how big would this guy be if he wasn't drinking light beer? You know, he just... I'm glad you people are here, not only to help me pick out a suitable wardrobe, but a wonderfully talented screenwriter, the gentleman who authored Breaking Away and Four Friends and Others, Steve Tessich, is joining us tonight. A gentleman to review Warren Beatty's motion picture, Reds. This gentleman happens to be a dentist, Norman Hoffman. Wherever Norman Hoffman goes, of course, the groupies are everywhere. And we're going to have a special tour of NBC and a couple of surprises. Pat Paulsen is here tonight, and he's going to do something unbelievable right here on this television program, never before seen in North America. Now, I've covered everything, right? Okay, now I tell you what we were going to do. We're going to go up here and visit with some of the folks in the studio audience. We like to call it a studio audience, and so we do. How do you do? Were you making the dog noises? What is your name?
Wendy.
What do you do for a living, Wendy?
I'm a student.
You're a student. Good money in that. Okay. Let's see. How do you do? What is your name, sir?
Dick Eckelbarger.
Dick Eckelbarger, stand up for a second. Do you mind, Dick? Where are you from? You look like you have a tan.
Tucson, Arizona.
And you are in New York City for the purpose of?
Business purposes.
Can you be a little more specific about that, Dick?
We're here selling some software products.
And software being?
Computer programs.
Oh, yeah. Does that mean anything to anybody? Well, nice to have you here, Dick. How long have you been in New York?
2 days.
And what have you done besides come here?
We've been out to eat a few times.
Kind of a dream come true for Dick, isn't it? I guess you don't get to eat much back there in Arizona, huh?
Sometimes we eat there.
Well, I appreciate you coming here tonight. Nice to see you. Do you mind, are you related to this woman here, Dick?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Do you mind standing up, ma'am? What is your name?
Sally Paulsen.
Sally, do you mind coming out here? Is this microphone working? Must be my mouth, then. Where are you from, Sally?
Tucson, Arizona.
And you don't know Dick?
I know Dick, but we're not together.
Oh. Yeah. No, they'll believe that back in Arizona. Have you ever been to a television studio before?
Never.
It's kind of impressive, awe-inspiring, all of this equipment and, of course, the nearly trained crew. Is there a particular piece of equipment out there that interests you?
This one right here.
This one? That's the producer. What were you pointing at?
I was pointing at this machine.
Oh, this one looking at us, that's a television camera. Would you ever have any interest in running one of those?
Sure.
All right, we're going to teach you how to run one of these tonight, and it may come in handy back there in Tucson, was it?
Yes.
And your name is? Sally? Okay, Sally, come on down here if you don't mind. Watch your purse, will you, Dick? Come on over here, Sally. What do you think? Is it the slacks or is it the coat?
The slacks and the sacks.
The slacks and the what?
The sacks are holding the slacks.
The slacks and the sacks. Oh, you socks.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Well, that is what that is. I should take off this. I look like I rolled off a turnip truck. Okay, Sally. I'll tell you what. Let's do. This is Pam. This is Sally. And Pam, how long have you been running the big machine here?
Oh, about 2 years, David.
And it's what model is that?
It's a TK-44. It's an
TK-44, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Pam, just go ahead and tell Sally what she needs to do here.
Okay, why don't you just put this headset on, and you can hear the director that way.
That will be Hal Gurney you're listening to there.
Hi, Sally.
Hi. Now,
Are those going to fit?
you okay? Yeah, okay. Now, hold on to it.
Some of you other guys may want to look
Okay.
in here.
Now, this is your zoom handle. Okay.
This is the zoom handle, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, you can make it go in. Okay, and you can bring it back. Okay. This is your focus handle. You put your hand up there, and that'll make it either soft or sharp.
Okay.
Okay. You can pan, go around left to right.
How much is this worth, Pam?
Oh, probably about $100,000.
$100,000.
I'll be very careful.
Okay.
You can make it go way, way
Whoa.
up.
That's
Okay.
terrific.
And you can make it go way, way down. Okay.
Boy, you need some Dramamine for that.
And wherever these little red arrows are pointing is where the wheels are going to go, and the whole thing will go.
Okay, are we all set, Hal?
Okay, here we go.
Where do you want
You
me?
get on the mark, on the little yellow T mark there.
Right? Oh, right here? Oh, okay.
Stick to it. And don't fool around, please.
Okay, I'll try not to. Okay. All right.
Here we go, David.
That's perfect, Sally.
Sorry, David. Oh, there he is.
Hi, how are you? Do what now?
I'll be back to home base now.
Well, we're going over here, Sally. Okay.
Right over there, that's good. Now move in, kind of truck in, push in there. Yeah, that's good. Doing fine, doing fine. Keep going, good. Let's see David. Let's see, he's the star.
How do you do?
Okay, focus up.
Okay, now we have,
Let's see some of the products.
okay, we have some sponges here. By the way, everybody on the show tonight gets one of these lovely and durable David Letterman sponges.
We can't read it, David.
There you go.
Sal, would you focus it up,
Just
please?
focus in there a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, now put it in the water there. Can we get a shot of the water,
Let's see,
Sally?
if there's something on the desk, Sally. Just push the head down like that, yeah. Follow the hand. Can you move in more, Sally? Just move in. Just push the camera right in there.
It's all the way in, Hal. It's going to turn over and we'll be out 100 grand.
Okay, then just focus up. Good.
Okay, well, you're doing very well, Sally. Let's go over and see
Stay with David. Stay with David. Move in. Now move in.
This is Paul Schaefer, our musical director, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, how about a nice close-up of Paul here?
Zoom into Paul there, yeah. That's right. Okay, Paul, get your big upper. Now widen out two shots, Sally.
That means the both of us?
The two, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to push the camera in more. Very good.
We'll settle for two of anything, Sally.
Hey, come down stage now.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. You did very well. Down here? Okay.
David, lead us into a commercial, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sally. You've done a fine job. Thank you. You're just wonderful. Thank you. We have to pause. We'll be right back with Pat Paulsen. Very nice job, Sally.
Still keep in touch?
Hmm?
Your share. Come on, just help me out. Now tell me, how many tattoos do you have below the waist?
Please. I must clean.
So, Tom Hanks. What was it like working with Meg Ryan?
Nice.
Great, great.
Conan O'Brien. He's new at this.
So what's next for Tom Hanks?
I don't know.
Great, great.
Thank you. Welcome back to Late Night, and good morning. My thanks to Sally Ponce from Tucson, Arizona. You did a very nice job, Sally. I have removed my pants, for those of you who were worried about it earlier. Television viewers haven't seen much of Pat Paulsen since the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. It went off the air in 1975. After losing several bids for the presidency and after failing in a TV series of his own, Pat virtually dropped out of sight. Well, he's back now, and it's a pleasure to welcome him to our program tonight. Here's Pat Paulsen. Welcome to the show, Pat. How are you? Nice to see you. You're looking all fit and trim, as it were.
I'm really excited to be here on your second show.
I could tell.
Yeah.
Before we talk about what you may or may not have been doing lately, I want to talk about a couple of projects in your earlier life. One was the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, and some of the people who worked on that show, like yourself, who went on to become mainstays in the world of comedy and so forth. Who else wrote or performed on that show?
Well, some of the people that Tommy was responsible for their success, I would, Kenny Rogers, Steve Martin, writers. People who went on to produce things like Alan Bly and Bob Einstein went on to produce Sonny and Cher. Jerry Music went on to produce Bob Newhart Show. Many of those people were discovered by Tom, so he deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah.
There were others, too. Jennifer Singer. And
at the time when you were working with Steve Martin, did you have any indication that he was going to become more than sort of part-time work, you know?
Well, I knew that Steve was writing one for Steve, one for Pat. He's saving the good stuff for later.
I've had that happen here.
I bet.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty obvious.
Now, so tell us now what you have been doing. In the introduction, we mentioned that you have sort of other things, I guess, huh?
Well, I went on after that into the college circuit, did a lot of, the 60s, and I noticed they've changed quite a bit. I've been away, but they've changed. In the 60s, they were out protesting against their parents. In the 70s, they were out protesting against their parents and making free love. And today, they're out protesting against their parents making free love.
Just an ugly set of circumstances, isn't it?
Full circle.
Yeah. Now, I understand you have something that you would like to do for us this evening. You want to talk about that now or talk about that in a minute?
How about tomorrow?
Okay, we're going to pause here and then come back and talk about it? Okay, we'll do that. We'll be right back. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the program. Steve Tessich will be here, and Pat Paulsen is with us now. Anyway, before the commercial, you mentioned that you are going to do something here tonight.
Well, what happened after that show was I got into kind of a depressing state. I wasn't doing too well, okay? And I started drinking a little. I got into drugs pretty heavy. And then I started reading about Indian philosophy. I got into that pretty much. I went to India, went to a little town called Bhutek, which is on the Tibetan border near India. And I...
Bhutek?
B-U-T-E-K. And I studied Indian philosophy there. Trying to more or less bring myself back to what I was before. It's very, a very hard regimen at first. There's many things you have to do in order to get to a certain point. Basically, there's chakra, which is 7 planes. It starts from the top of the head and goes to the pelvic area. That's basically where these energy lines are. They're concentric. So I learned...
we have these with us at all times?
Yeah, you do. And it's like you're sleeping north, south, east, west. All of these... it depends on where your energy vortex is. Mine, apparently, is very strong because I got to the point where I could levitate. So I've never done that. I've never done that in public, but
By
I can
levitating,
do it.
you mean actually without visible means of support off the ground?
That's right.
Your body?
Uh-huh.
You've done that?
I have done it. I would say about 87 times so far.
Well, that's the kind of thing you do want to count, I guess.
Well, I know every time I do it, it takes a lot out of you, so I know at the time when I do
Yeah.
it. It's like anything else.
But it is just mind over matter, right?
That's all it is.
Yeah. And you are going to do that for us this evening?
I'm going to do it. I know I'll do it.
Okay.
You have to have, you have to have faith. I can't have people laughing or anything while I'm doing this.
No. Well, that hasn't been a problem so far. Now, if you're absolutely serious about this, what can we do for you to help here? I know you have some
Well, they've
things back
set it
here.
up back here.
Do we go
I'm
back
gonna
over
show
there?
you.
All right. Okay. Going to levitate. This will be 88, is that right, Pat?
Yeah, I think, well, 88, yeah, maybe it was 80. Well, this might be 89, I'm not sure about
88 or 89, okay. Where do you want me to stand? Right here.
Don't get too close to me, because the vibrations are not that good.
Okay, do you need anything? This is a tank full of, I'm guessing...
Oh, this is going to be...
Water?
Yeah, unless it's Vaseline. It looks like water to me.
And you're going to actually levitate above the water?
I'm going to try.
Would you rather I stopped interrupting?
Yeah, I just need a second here.
Okay. Be a good time to get a beer.
Okay, I think I'm ready. We got the water's too darn low here.
Oh, the water?
Yeah, I have to step right on. I don't know. Well, let me try it again. I don't like.
Try it again.
Okay, here we go.
You need anything?
No, I'm okay. Okay, I'll do it again. Okay, here we go. No, don't. Water's hostile or something.
Yeah. Oh, we have this attempt. This would be the attempt at number 88 or 89 or 8990.
Is this tap water here?
I don't know where we got the water. But take a look now. We have this through the miracle of slow motion.
This water is not like the water I usually use.
Are you going to be all right?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, I tell you. So now you wanna come on down and towel
No, I
off?
want to just sit here and think about it.
Okay, Pat's going to sit here and think about it. We're going to pause. We'll be right back. Thank you very much, and welcome back to the show. And coming up in the next half hour of this video extravaganza, all sorts of wonderful stuff, and most of it will come to me here in just a second while I glance at the card. Oh, Dr. Norman Hoffman, a dentist from New York City, will be in to review the motion picture Reds. I'll bet that will be good. A special tour of NBC, and the author of Breaking Away and Four Friends, Steve Tesich, will be joining us. All of that, plus plenty of surprises in the next half hour. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the program. My name's David Letterman. In this half hour, author Stephen Tesich will be joining us, and we're going to have a film review of the motion picture Reds with Norman Hoffman, the dentist. You know, a lot of folks wanted to be on this television program, but for one reason or another, we could not accommodate them. Nonetheless, we keep their resumes and photos on file. Here now, in a rare behind-the-scenes glimpse into show business, we'd like to show you some of the folks who will not be seen on this television program. First of all, Earl Hofert from Linton, Indiana, wanted to be on our show. Mr. Hofert has devoted his life to annoying theater goers. Here we see Earl during a recent performance of Evita asking a complete stranger to join him in singing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. You won't be seeing Earl on this show. I just got tired of being ripped off. That's what Wendell P. Robinson told us when he phoned and asked if he could be on the program. I'll bet I lost over $20 in them damn Pepsi machines. That's why I went out and built my own. You won't be seeing either Wendell on the right or his vending machine on this show. This is pretty exciting, this next guy. Well-known audiologist Clifford Williamson, who is from Portland, Oregon, wanted to be on our show to demonstrate a new technique he has developed to be used when you're having trouble hearing someone. Williamson, shown here demonstrating the method, told us, "Are you kidding? It's going to be bigger than the Heimlich maneuver." Steve Elliott Kipner from Shaker Heights, Ohio, wanted to be on the program. According to Mr. Kipner, he'd like to come on and, as shown in this photograph, oh, this is good, answer questions from small groups of businessmen about how he gets his hair to look just like Dick Clark's. You won't be seeing Steve on the show. It's interesting, everyone here today has a middle name. Ed Pops Seamler wanted to be on our show to demonstrate what he does for a living. "I explain things to people who don't know a lot," said Ed. Ed is shown here explaining what a light bulb is to a man who had been asleep since birth. Former President of the United States. Yes, the near and the great, or the near great, or the ingrates. Former President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, wanted to be on our show to demonstrate his favorite pastime since leaving office. Says Jimmy, "I guess I'm just like any other American. I enjoy cruising singles bars." "We think it will replace the bus." That's what Kurt Ladmer Newman told us when asked if he could be on our show to demonstrate his solution to the problem of energy-saving mass transportation. The only drawback, according to Kurt, is we don't like to stop for old folks. They just can't keep up. Well, you won't be seeing Kurt on the television program. Coming up in a minute or two, Stephen Tessich will join us, folks. And recently completed the screenplay for GARP and Eyewitness, and his current motion picture, For Friends, is quite popular all across the United States. Originally from Yugoslavia, he's here with us tonight, and he spent part of his life, as you probably know, in Indiana. Please now a nice welcome for Steve Tessich. Stephen, how are you? Have a seat, sir. I mentioned, as people now know, that you lived for a time in Indiana. Maybe they don't know that. I knew that because I lived there, I guess, around the same time you were there.
Two Hoosiers.
Yeah, but that was, of course, the setting for Breaking Away.
That was my college years, and I ran into a guy who was doing his Italian fantasy. I was riding a bike. I hear an Italian opera being sung behind me. I turn around, there's this guy climbing a hill singing. Starts talking Italian to me, and being Yugoslavian, knowing how tough it is on foreigners, I really have pity on the guy. Mm-hmm. For a week, I try to tell him what America is like, what it's like to be in Indiana, and all this. And then I find out he was born in Indianapolis, grew up there, and this whole fantasy thing, it was just a kind of a daydream.
Was this the first movie that you had written?
It was the first movie, it was the first screenplay that I had written, and it took 8 years for people to see fit to make it.
No kidding. So how does one keep from getting miserably discouraged? When you've written something, you've got it neatly typed, I would guess, and it lays around for 8 years.
Well, you really keep writing other things, because if you're going to wait for that one thing to be made, and actually, I was positive nobody was going to make it because everybody had read it. It was like a library book. Mm-hmm. I would meet people, say, "That's a great screenplay. Why don't you write this other thing for us?" Uh-huh. And you kept wondering, if it's so great, why don't they make it? You know, but somehow nobody could see a film in it.
Is that difficult? Now the Breaking Away was so personal, or so you were so personally involved in it. it was probably easier to write than someone saying to you, I got a great idea.
Yeah, there's
a couple of guys are going to Neptune. You know, if they say, write this idea, is that harder than writing your own idea?
I would not know what couple of guys going to Neptune talk about on their way up there.
Yeah.
Now, if they said a couple of guys from East Chicago going to Neptune, I said, okay, I know 2 guys. You know, there's Joe Kish, I know. I know what he'd say on his way to Neptune. I could do that.
Well, let's get some of this stuff down, Steve. I think. Now, Garp was, of course, not written by you. Was that difficult to adapt somebody else's novel to a screenplay?
I would love to say how hard it was, because, you know, people want to hear that, and then I come off sounding really good. But it was easy. It's a terrible thing to admit. It was just wonderfully easy to write it. I saw how to do it, and I was so excited. I sat down. Next thing I knew, it was finished.
Did you have lengthy discussions with the author of that or the people producing the movie?
I would not call them lengthy.
It's like stealing, isn't it?
Actually, we didn't have a discussion.
They do know you did it, though, huh?
When I finished the screenplay, I sent it to John Irving, but I really couldn't see having a discussion with anybody until I finished writing it. There was nothing to talk about.
Never having done this, this is mystifying to me, but I'll take your word for it. The other thing that I was interested in about East Chicago, Indiana, what is that like? I never actually was in East Chicago, Indiana.
Well, there was a picture that you had of the people that didn't make it on the show, and there was a guy with one of those Pepsi machines. Well, if you took all those pipes and you kind of multiply them 1,000,000 times, and you put this constantly red sky above it, there you have East Chicago. Except within it, you have wonderful people.
Yeah.
And that's really how I remember it.
I can remember, we talked about this earlier, in the late 60s, before they did anything really to curb the pollution. This is a heavy industry town, a lot of steel and iron smelting, or whatever they do with iron, or whatever they do with smelt, for that matter. And the air, like you said, was continually orange. It was beautiful. Twice a day, it would be right. It would either be sunset or sunrise, and it would be perfect.
But the nice thing, it was they hadn't invented pollution then, so we didn't know it was polluted. You know, it's nice and red.
And people actually felt that.
Well, they really thought the immigrants, the Serbians. I of course joined the Serbian community, and they said that stuff really makes you tough. This air, you breathe this air, you get really strong.
Yeah.
You know. Well, you know, you come to a new country and you assume people know what they're talking about. So I breathe deeply.
But hardly ever do you go to your doctor and he says, you're not breathing enough soot. You don't hear that. So anyway, you came from Yugoslavia.
Well,
and
someone has to, you know.
I can't imagine in my present circumstance just picking up and moving to a foreign country. You did it with your family. What was that like?
Well, it was very strange, because I formed notions of America in Yugoslavia by watching films, and most of the films were westerns, and so therefore when I landed, I honestly expected maybe, if not John Wayne, a close friend of his, to be there on a horse, waiting for me to take me to the guy, and we're going to ride off across these prairies that I didn't seem to see when I landed at Ellis Island.
All right.
And the language, my first contact with English, because I was so eager to pick up new words, was shubum shupum. And I said, well, it's English, and I started looking around and asking around, and it was the first sound I heard. The song was playing on Ellis Island, shubum shupum, and that was somehow a bit of a shock.
It, of course, means don't breathe. We're gonna take a look at a small portion of Four Friends. Is this what we're going to do now? Okay, this is the newest film presently in release that Stephen Tesich has authored. Autobiographical, eh?
Oh, very.
Do you need to tell anything about this?
There's the central hero in this piece is coming home. The girl he loves is getting married, and he thinks he knows to whom.
David? Hello, Dave.
Hello, Rudy. Thanks for coming.
Yes, I've heard about all of you. I hope that you and Tom will be very happy.
I hope so, too. What about David and me?
Yes, of course. It's just that the custom calls for the bride and groom. I think I better shut up. David? She asked me, and...
I'm gonna have a baby.
Well, congratulations. It's Tom's baby. I better shut up again.
What the hell's going on? I didn't want to get married.
I did. I love ceremonies. I can't wait to have my baby. Isadora Duncan had babies, and it made her dance that much better. It did. It made her flower.
What about me?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flower.
Why didn't you tell me?
You had your chance.
Mostly autobiographical.
Very much so.
Now, which one would have been you in there?
The guy that had his chance and blew it.
Yeah.
Because in the movie, the girl, when she decides it is time for her to more or less give up her virginity, she comes to this guy.
That being you?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was the 60s where you say, my God, I love you. You do not do that with someone you love. And, you know, it takes the character in a film only about 8 years to make up for that.
Now, this was your observation of the 60s.
Perhaps not yours, I take it, by the look you're giving.
Well, I don't know. It's just I
had other experiences.
I've had very little experience in the 70s, and so far the 80s ain't been good. I was under the impression that the 60s was the first decade when all of that sort of...
It started changing,
Yeah.
but the film starts in '61, and that's sort of the period that I went through in East Chicago.
Yeah. You're not living in East Chicago now, eh?
No, I have a cabin in Colorado.
Yeah.
So that's where I spend most of the time.
We're pretty excited about Garp.
It is a wonderful film.
Yeah.
I've seen it 8 times, and George Roy Hill, I have, because I kept waiting for it not to be as good as the last time.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous film.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stephen Tesich. We'll be right back with a tour of NBC. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, gentlemen. Very nice. Yesterday, as you may recall, if you were with us, we gave you a tour of... Yesterday, as you may recall, we gave you a tour of the set here, our brand new set in Studio 6A at NBC in the RCA building. Now that your appetite for touring has been whetted, it's time to take a look at the building that is NBC.
Hi. I thought tonight would be a fine time to show each and every one of you around the RCA building here in Manhattan, home of the world's finest broadcast facility, NBC. But since I really can't show each and every one of you around, I've invited along a young broadcaster of tomorrow. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Stanley Florman.
Fine, Stanley. I hope you enjoy the tour. And also, I've asked this gentleman right here to go with us since he just happens to have a television camera with him. Now, Stanley, broadcasting is a very complex and serious business, and it takes years and years to understand it fully. So if you have any questions, don't be embarrassed to speak right up, okay?
Is this live or on tape?
I'm not sure about that, Stanley.
How about lunch?
There'll be lunch, don't you worry. This is one of my favorite places in the building, Stanley. TV network operations, facilities, and maintenance. And here's a fine example of the work they're doing. Impressed so far?
And how?
Well, hold on to your hat. We're headed for the 6th floor.
Oh, boy.
I'll bet you've never seen one of these before, Stanley. This is an elevator, which used to transport NBC employees from floor to floor.
Is that right?
You bet. Let's take a ride.
Department of Sex and Violence. Boy, I'd like to see that.
No, not on this show, Stanley. Not right now. Maybe later when we get closer to the ratings. This is the David Letterman Research Department. Every piece of activity going on inside this room is devoted to finding out what exactly works best on our show.
Why does all the clocks have different times?
Well, Stanley, we need to know exactly what time it is all over the world in case we want to, well, say, place a prank phone call to Buenos Aires to order a bunch of pizzas, send them to somebody's house. We need to know what time is the funniest. Yes, even the silly behavior on our program is the result of hours and hours of precise planning.
No kidding.
You know, Stanley, NBC does a lot more than just broadcast your favorite television programs into your home. They spend a lot of time developing products for tomorrow, like this new appliance here, the electric closet. That's right, Stanley. One day, all our closets will be powered by electricity. Ooh, don't touch it, Stanley. It's very hot. Wow. NBC Television Network affiliate relations. A lot more interesting than it sounds, Stanley, because a television network without affiliates is like an ocean without fish.
Without fish?
That's right, Stanley. The swordfish, the trout, the catfish, the bass, the eel, the manta ray, the red snapper, even the sea bass would all be lost without affiliates.
What about the tuna?
Even the tuna, Stanley.
How about the lobster?
No, the lobster is a crustacean. It would be okay.
How about guppies?
Yeah, there's no guppies on here, but they'd be lost.
How about fish sticks?
Yeah, well, that's enough, Stanley.
How about goldfish? How about turbot? How about plaice?
We're on our way to the announcing office now, Stanley. All of the announcing you hear on NBC, show introductions, station identifications, even lists of prizes you hear on game shows, come right out of the announcing office here. And this is the woman who does all of the announcing for NBC. Hello, Lillian.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you again.
Amazing.
We'll be right back with Dennis Norman Hoffman with a review of the motion picture, Reds. I'm proud this evening to introduce a new feature on our show that we are calling Limited Perspective. In it, we are featuring discussions of popular media events from particular points of view. Tonight, I'd like you to meet a dentist from here in New York City, Dr. Norman Hoffman. Dr. Hoffman has been practicing dentistry since 1946. We asked Dr. Hoffman to attend Warren Beatty's new movie, Reds, and let us know how it looked from the dentist point of view. Dr. Hoffman.
In the making of the motion picture Reds, the producers have gone to a great expense to create the illusion of authenticity with respect to architectural details, style of dress, means of transportation, and so on. But one cannot help but notice a notable failure in the attempt to produce realism in the movie. The story takes place at the beginning of the century when dental methods were relatively crude. Yet the stars of the film, Warren Beatty, Diane Keaton, Jack Nicholson, and so on, are seen displaying near-perfect dentition with respect to color and shape and occlusion and gingival health and general aesthetics. And this would have required the use of acrylic veneered gold, porcelain fused to gold, porcelain alone, implants, and a host of other methods that were historically not available at that time.
Okay, Dr. Hoffman, how is Jack Nicholson in the film?
Well, in this picture, he doesn't show any teeth, but in the picture, from a subjective point of view, just an impression, his teeth were much too even. They look like a picket fence. Mm-hmm. No undulations to them.
Undulations
Nothing
are
natural.
important.
I think they should have lengthened some of them to give them more naturalness.
How about Diane Keaton?
Diane Keaton has a high lip line, and she's showing a lot of teeth and gingiva. Her two front central teeth are slightly elongated.
That pretty much ruined the film for you? Of course, here is the writer, producer, director, star, Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty appeared slightly toothy, but better than the others, better than Diane Keaton's or Nicholson's.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that Warren Beatty's teeth were the best of all of the stars of the show.
Okay. So now, what have we got here?
Well, here we have a long shot of a crowd. But fortunately for the film, there were many close-ups of this crowd, and their teeth showed to better advantage. But here again, there was a great lack of credibility, because in those days, back in 1915, many of the teeth were covered with gold and silver, and yet the teeth of the crowds in those movies were not different from maybe the teeth of the audience in front of us now.
So, generally speaking, then, the film was uneven.
The teeth was uneven, and the tooth didn't fit the parts.
Fine. Dr. Hoffman, thank you very much. Your review. I want to thank the studio audience. You folks are wonderful. I appreciate you being here. And also Stephen Tesich, Dr. Hoffman, and Pat Paulsen attempting to levitate above water. Tomorrow night on our program, Terry Gilliam will be here. Hank Aaron, newly elected to the Hall of Fame. A report on new products of 1982. And a special report on celebrities and their business machines. Plus Irving Caesar. Good night.